Welcome back to my F1 Championship Edition career mode. Today we're at round number 8 for the British Grand Prix. Last time out in Monaco we had our second points finish of the season, albeit with some controversies and incidents that absolutely did not cost us any more points than we actually got. We now head to Silverstone, which is a strong track for the AI, but not quite as strong as the likes of Spain or Imola. I can tell you now, I will not be in the running for pole position, but hopefully we can maintain the good form that we had in Monaco and get a semi-decent result. That would be nice. That'd be decent. I know I'm asking a lot given how it's the British Grand Prix, but if it could not rain whatsoever, that would be absolutely wonderful. Jumping to the end of qualifying, thank God it is dry for now. It could easily rain later on in qualifying or in the race, but for now, we're going to enjoy the dry weather of Silverstone because it probably won't last too long. Our first lap we go P15, which is absolutely horrific. We've beaten Montero, who's P16. We've been dropped down to P16. We've almost hit the back of, I think that was a Midlands car. With the time remaining, we've got one more chance to improve our lap time, and by the looks of it, we're going to desperately need to. Marko is the most likely to knock me out in Q1, given who's in the drop zone currently. However, we've got to remember he is a number 2 driver, so that gives us a little bit of leeway. Regardless, we continue to push on our final lap anyway, and it's not been a great lap at all. We're slower in the first sector, we're slower in the second sector, and we push too hard in the third sector. Run wide, hit the grass, have a perfectly executed pirouette, and that's the end of Q1, but for now, not the end of our qualifying. Especially if we're just going to sit here and cause a yellow flag in the final sector. That's, honestly, given it's what professional F1 drivers do, I think it's a phenomenal tactic. And it's paid off. We are just going to get through to Q2. I say just, I didn't realise the time difference was quite that dramatic. I don't think I need to stress all too much actually, with hindsight. Heading out in Q2, 5 minutes left on the clock, and we've come out with quite a few cars around us, and we want absolutely nothing to do with them because, let's face it, being around cars in this game is very bad because things like that can happen. Was that a fucking Honda? It was a Honda, wasn't it? It was another fucking Honda. Well, that's the end of our qualifying too, courtesy of the Honda again.
We'll continue with session 3 of qualifying in a few moments.
I'll see you in the race.
So there we have it from 10
Oh, that's a bit awkward. I'm not going to see you in the race. I'm going to see you immediately because I forgot I included the top 10 of qualifying. Michael Schumacher got a pole position ahead of Kimi Raikkonen in P2, and the Vermin are P7 and P9. So starting P16 for the British Grand Prix, I'll be honest, I'm not too optimistic for my chances of points this race, but we can get a decent result nonetheless. Hopefully we don't get taken out by another Honda once again. We have 5 lights, lights out, and away we go to the British Grand Prix. It's been a relatively uneventful start. We get Klein and Rosberg off the line. Into turn number 1 we go in P14. We're going to try and look around the outside of Villeneuve. Heading into Magnussen and Beckett is obviously going to be quite risky. We're going to back out of that and just sit behind the Sauber. And then we're going to go into the back of the Sauber because he's going to hit the back of Coulthard. I don't know how there's no damage and no cars going out from that contact, but we're all going to get through onto the hangar straight somehow. We're going to sit in the slipstream of the Sauber, although it's not going to do anything because this car is horrific in a straight line. We're now going to be under pressure from Klein into the braking zone. We're going to run horrifically wide. So wider than anyone's ever gone at that corner. And obviously Klein is going to get through. That was 100% just fear that I was going to get dive bombed and taken out by the Red Bull. But, you know, we've got through the corner, we've survived, it cost us a position, but we should be able to get it back. It's just Klein. Klein is famously just horrific. As I'm going to demonstrate immediately by going around outside at turn number 11. Heading into Sector 3, it's definitely been a tense opening lap. There's been a few occasions where we could have definitely retired the car. We've run wide at turn number 14, but luckily we've not lost out to Klein this time. We've run wide at turn 15, but luckily we've not lost out to Klein this time. Are we going to run wide at turn 16? No, we're not. We're actually going to nail that corner. We're going to end lap number 1, P14, 2 positions up from our starting position. Now we just got to try and survive. Let's battle these Red Bulls. Unsurprisingly, with the hangar straight and the fast speed nature of this track, this car was struggling quite a bit. I was doing pretty well in the corners, as you can see through Magnussen and Beckett. We've closed right onto the back of Coulthard. However, now on the hangar straight, we're going to sit in the slipstream of the Red Bull. it's sort of not going to do anything. It's going to take a long time before we actually get any overspeed on the Red Bull. We're actually going to send up the inside of turn number 7. Then we run deep and he just drives straight past us, which is absolutely fine. You know, I ran deep. He's completely entitled to overtake me. However, I had to really try to get any sort of straight line speed out of this car. And by really try, I mean I had to drive absolutely perfectly. And if you've watched the rest of this series, you know I don't really do that very often. As you can see, heading on to lap number 7, we've fallen away from Coulthard. Clean is still right behind me and pressuring me at every single braking zone. But I just didn't have the pace, or apparently the skill, to stay on the back of the Red Bull. This car just simply didn't have it. As we've seen throughout the rest of this series, straight line speed is not this car's strong suit, much like how not getting penalties is not my strong suit. We turn in too early through Mags and Beckett's, pick up a penalty, and we're going to hold up Klein and Rosberg as we come onto the hangar straight. The worst possible place to get a penalty and get a poor exit, but you know, into Stowe, because we're going much slower, we're actually going to make the corner this time and defend against Klein and Rosberg. But we are well in dive bomb danger into turn number 8, and we're going to fall victim to Christian Klein, who is going to punt me round at the apex of turn number 8. We're going to be facing the wrong way, and somehow I'm so far ahead of everyone else that they don't just come around the corner and take me out. I was fully expecting a repeat of Spain. But it now means we've lost all progress from the start of this race. We're going to sit P16 pretty comfortably, and given the lack of pace we have this race, I don't think that's going to be changing. Unfortunately, I was right. I didn't have the pace to catch anyone in front of me. I was now battling the back markers. You could argue it's where I belong. Fuck you. But anyway, we've had a car retire up ahead. We've avoided the oil spill as we come onto the hangar straight. Ralf Schumacher has had an engine failure, so we're going to pick up P15. It's a phenomenal overtake by me, and I think the first time that I've actually overtaken someone in a straight line this season. Jumping to the midpoint of this race, you can see my tyres aren't looking great, mainly thanks to Clean spinning me round, but also there were quite a few corners, as you saw in the previous clip, where I was just starting to slide. It wasn't too pleasant a track to drive with worn tyres, but with the fixed setup, I wasn't spinning quite as much. It wasn't pleasant, but it was much more manageable. We go at P14 thanks to pit stops. You can see we've opened a gap up to Montero. He wasn't an issue anymore, it was very much just about consolidating P15. Not very exciting, I know, but it is what it is. Given how our season's gone, we've really just got to finish races and paint ourselves in a good light for faster teams. We decided to stay out for an additional lap to try and use the lack of fuel. It's not going to do anything. I don't really know why I did it, because there was absolutely no gain. I was clearly faster than Montero and I wasn't catching anyone ahead of me whatsoever. We're going to come into the pit in P13. I think we're pretty comfortably net P15. Now, I was tempted to mess up this pit stop just to give me some sort of excitement, even though that excitement would be just battling the back markers, which wouldn't be very exciting at all. It's going to be a pretty standard pit stop. Nothing really of note to make, it's just me being absolutely incredible at what I do. We're going to hold up Scott's speed. Oh, that's fun, that's nice. Yeah, I like that. I like screwing over my teammate. Anyway, we're on P15. We're miles ahead of Montero, we're miles behind Rosberg. Let's just get to the end and hope for retirements. That's all we can do now. Oh look, we're on the last lap, there were no more retirements, and we're going to make it to the end. What an eventful second stint that was. Well, I guess on the positive, there was no clips of me throwing it away. Not that I had much to throw away anyway, but the Silverstone Grand Prix, we knew this was going to be a tough race against the AI. Not quite as tough as others, but you know, with this car, I didn't really stand much of a chance. But we're going to come home in P15, one place up from where we qualified, albeit thanks to our retirement. But we've made it to the end. Relatively eventless, relatively incidentless. You know what? I'm going to take it. We've got a new race winner. Raikkonen wins the British Grand Prix ahead of Michael Schumacher and Giancarlo Fisichella. We come home in P15, absolutely miles behind Rosberg. It wasn't even a case of that takeout costing us too much. We were just miles off the pace. We were going to lose out to them regardless, I think. But we've achieved our goals within the team. We got into Q2, we got a P18 finish, minimum, and we've beaten our teammate Scott Speed. I was going to beat him anyway, it had absolutely nothing to do with the fact I held him up in the pit. With a P4 finish, Schumacher marginally closes up to Massa, he increases the gap on Montoya, and with that win, Raikkonen jumps up to P6 in the standings. We remain in P9 with our 11 points, 4 points ahead of Jarno Trulli, and 5 points ahead of David Coulthard. In the Constructors, Ferrari once again increased their margin slightly over McLaren. It's going to be a Ferrari Constructors Championship, I know, I can't believe it either. Next up we will be going to Canada, a race that very much the player can compete in. We'll be looking for at least a top 10 finish next time out, we're looking for a strong result there. We desperately need one really. Oh, and also just to continue the fun facts for this series, Raikkonen won the British Grand Prix as we know. So the streak continues of past, present or future Ferrari drivers winning every race this season. We're 8 for 8. I cannot wait for Giancarlo Fisichella to win in Canada.